Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be converting the Bruder D5 1/16 scale mini dozer. I've done one of these in the past. It's one of the first RC truck and construction show I went to. I was pretty new to the Tamiya Grand Hauler, just had my first one. I had built a Talbot trailer for it, which I'll show a video of that sometime. And so I go to this truck show and one of these guys had this, and it was the neatest little dozer. I played around with his for an hour or two, and then another gentleman had one just like this in a box for sale, and I bought it that night, and a week later I had it converted after combining all the parts for it. So let's open it up and we'll go over what we're going to do with it. Okay, so it's got, if you're not familiar with it, the blade goes up and down. It also can tilt to the left and tilt to the right. Tracks are pretty decent on it. They roll well, and it's got a ripper on the back. I've never been a real big fan of the ripper. Bruder also provides this attachment so you can pull things with it, similar to like what's on the tractors. So I'll probably end up just taking the ripper off and leaving it just like that, like a dozer. So not going to do anything major there. The goal for this, or the plan for this, will be we're going to put some LEDs in it. So we'll put an LED on the front here and here. I will also look about maybe putting a flashing strobe on top. I haven't determined that yet, but definitely going to make this drive forward and backwards. We're going to make the blade go up and down, as well as tilt left to right. There is just enough space for a micro server right in here. So you have to trim out this lip a little bit. I'll kind of get that closer. If we trim down this lip a little bit, you can put a micro server here, and with an arm on the blade, you do have to cut off these knobs so that it doesn't click like that, and it'll free swing. So you actually will leave these kind of fake cylinder looking things so it'll have that realistic look. But the servo will go right here. I'll run the wire down underneath this carrier assembly and go inside the main housing. And then, just like on my D11 build, I've designed new sprockets for this that I can attach directly to a servo. So we're actually going to cut all this out the back here and install two servos right here. The servos will be modified for continuous rotation. You can buy continuous rotation servos out there. Actually, one of the guys commented on my D11 build, posting a link to where you can buy some Metal Gear, high torque continuous rotation. I actually have a bunch of Metal Gear high torque servos that have a 270 degree, and so you can watch my D11 build. I'll put the link right up here to go to find that video, and you can watch how I modify continuous rotation. But we'll take this all apart, and it should be pretty simple. Like I said, a couple lights, nothing real fancy on the lights. So a couple lights up and down, tilt left, or yeah, not really tilt left, but steer left, steer right on the blade, and then driving it. We will weight this down with some BBs, so these track housings will take off, and we'll put some weight in there to get some weight, or put some BBs in there to get some weight, so it has a little bit of pushing power. If you don't weight this down, it doesn't push very well. So let's start taking this thing apart. So we'll start with popping these tracks off. I'm gonna reuse these tracks. These metal tracks are halfway decent, so we're gonna reuse those. You do want to pay attention to the rotation that the tracks are going on, so you want to kind of make it look realistic when we put this back together. So we'll save those for later. And then it starts the disassembly. For the most part, this is halfway decent to take out. We're going to take these side parts off first. So we got a clip here, we got a clip here, and if I'm thinking correctly, there's one more up in the body. I'll just have to remember this. There's the first one. And there's a little stopper on this second one. So I'm gonna take my flush cuts and it looks like I can't get it in there. I'll use the X-Acto knife and trim that stopper off. I'll do that the other side as well. And then you can push this down to get that one off. And let's see which one do I want to use. And we also have one in here that's actually found it. Okay. That one I'll shove up in there. And push this one down there. And pop, there we go. So there, that pulls it out. We are going to reuse this. We're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna fill this cavity with hot glue and BBs. We are gonna reuse the front drive shaft, so don't lose that. But we are not gonna utilize the old sprocket. So we're gonna take that out. And we can take that shaft out. We're not gonna use the shaft anymore, but we are going to cut this whole bottom out, and the servos are gonna go right there. So we need to, before I start cutting on this, I need to mark and index where the center line of this hole is so we can get the sprocket back in the right spot. So once I get this all taken apart, I'll mark that and show you what we do there. But let's keep going on the disassembly. I guess I'll point out on the main part of the cab, there's a number of places where the hood and the cab all attaches. We have two here, and I also cut those things off again with the X-Acto knife, put in there, cutting that stop off. There's that one. There's that one. So that'll allow that part to come out. And then we have two here, and then there's actually two more. There's a few more hidden back behind here. Those are the hard ones to get out. You know, I might as well kind of pop off the blade and stuff to get this out of my way. We will be reutilizing most all these parts, so we don't want to break them. We want to keep them. So we'll keep these cylinders off to the side there. And so we use the pick to get that out and that out. Gets that blade off of there. Again, we'll be reutilizing the blade. But now we got this pretty well broken down. We just now have to separate the top half from the bottom half. The stickers aren't sticking very well, so I need to make sure those get glued and sealed back on. So, okay, we got, for the body, we've got two here, kind of the front of the hood, the back of the hood on both sides, two here, and then two on the back. Now, if I remember correctly, I think I ended up just cutting these off the back. So I'll go ahead and separate this and then summarize again. There we go. Oh, that's right, I forgot. Yep, I forgot. There's two little clips. I didn't see them because they were hidden by the stickers. So if you just, I'm gonna just do that again. So once you get those front three out, all you have to do is put a screwdriver right behind the C of the cat, and it'll pop them out. Like I said, it'd been about a year or two, so I kind of forgot how that came apart. So now we have this about all disassembled. If you aren't putting lights in here, that's all you really need to take apart. I will end up basically taking this interior out, and when we run the lights, there's actually, it works out really well. There's a cavity in between this yellow part and this black part. You can actually get the lights ran down those slots. So if you can see just right down inside there, down that slot and down that slot, allows actually for pretty decent wire management. When this is off, this would be the time if you want to paint some stuff. You know, if you want to put some colors in on these gauges, maybe some white on the gauges, maybe put like paint the buttons red, yellow, something like that. Just give a little bit of color. Actually, I've been in many dozers. I installed GPS machine control systems. All I really need to do to make this look authentic is just pile it full of dirt, because that's what every stinking cab is all dirt. And maybe I should put like some mouse pee down there, mouse turds, because that's all a dozer cab is dirt and mouse turds. So we're gonna go and work on the LED lights. So this interior just kind of pulls out like we looked at before. This black part of the interior will also just kind of pop out, more or less just seated on each of the window frames. Now that will slide down. We can then take this top cap off. You'll see there's 4 clips holding it, there, and there. And then we'll be able to get to these things to drill holes in the lenses to put LED lights in the front. Like I said, the wires are going to kind of follow this channel down. We will then need to drill holes right here and right here to let the wires come down in there. So, and actually what I'll probably do is, I can't remember if I had enough room to do that, connect both the wires up in here and then go down. I don't think I have the room to do that, so I'll probably have to run wires down each side. So let's take this cap off, which is really well put on. I have to get more than one pick out to do this. Like I said, they really like that on there. Okay. So now we have to, I'm going to kind of do like I did on the John Deere 96RX, is just lose this gray piece. And I'll use that to be able to put my wires. I'll trim these off the front, and I'll need to glue them in place with the LED. So I'm going to cut these off. Like such. I'm going to hold these in place. And now get my drill bit out. Always get mutilated by the drill, and every time I drill I think, oh, I should have started with a pilot hole. I always forget that. So start with a pilot hole, a little bit easier, and once it's all in there, it's really not that big of a deal. But I got some small bits right here. Centered up. Now we'll put the bigger one in and see if it does a better job. That it does. And again, clean it up with the X-Acto knife a little bit. Okay. Now I need to get some LEDs out, and we'll start to glue those in place. You know, actually, since I took that gray part out, I am going to have enough room to hook the two together. So let's go ahead and get a couple LEDs. And these LEDs already have resistors built in. You can see I'm soldered in below that heat shrink. I'll go ahead and just to verify that these aren't blinking or that they are the white color that I'm looking for. I'm going to turn on my power supply. Yep, so solid white LEDs. That's what I want. And so these will come in here, come over, and then come down. Because the lines are long enough, I'm actually going to I'm actually not going to make the solder connection up here. I'll make it down below inside the cab. So now I need to figure out where my wire can go through at. So I'm going to kind of put this back in. And actually, I'm going to send my wire down where one of these clips are. So I'm going to sacrifice one of the clips. I'll cut one of these off. So I'm going to do it on this right side. So that clip's gone, and now I can utilize that hole. Just to make this easier, I'll go ahead and clip that off. Even though you'll never see it, I gotta clean it up a little bit. Okay. So now my wire will come over, down inside that hole, come from here, down inside that hole, and then where that's wires will come down and go down in through the cab. I can actually put this back in because then I can shove my wires down and make sure I make it through that hole properly. While I'm at it, it's going to be on this side, so I'm going to take my drill and drill that out. I'm going to first start with just my regular drill. So got the hole there. I'm going to take the clippers and clip that off. And now I'm going to take the Dremel tool and open that hole up a little bit. So now that hole's opened up, now I can run the wires down there. And actually, we'll go ahead and shove these down. There we go. And then this one will pull back a little bit. There we go. So it has length to get inside that lens. And this one will get turned. Pull that one through just a little more. And that will get turned inside that lens as well. So now they'll go down like that. So I'm actually going to kind of just have them poking out for right now. When I will, I'll have to put some hot glue in there to hold these lens caps on. And yeah, I need to open these holes up a little bit. The holes aren't big enough for my LEDs, so I will hold it with my grips, and then the bit on my Dremel tool is the proper size for that. Okay, so now I'll make sure these fit on the LEDs, which they do. And that one fits on that LED. there, and there. So now I can put this cap back on. As long as these are sticking out, then I'll put some glue on it, push it back in there, and that usually stays pretty well. The hot glue will hook to there till the back of the LED and hold that on there. So let's get these out the holes. So kind of get it close. If any of you guys watched the old Loading Kings, I was really sad when they when Aaron didn't decide to bring that back. So I've been making me a loading dock, and I got a couple trailers. So my son and I are going to have some competitions between us, Loading King style. I'm not trying to take that name, Loading King, so just for copyright purposes, I just said that in reference. You can hear my printer going now. I've been printing 1/14 scale milk crates. These milk crates, there's some out there that are like 10 scale, which are a little big. So when you think of, you know, the Tamiya guy, the milk crate in there, that's about the right size. So I got my printer printing a bunch right now. I'll put, if you want those milk crates, the STL file, if you want to print some of your own, get them posted. I'll get them posted to Thingiverse. I'll probably drop the link in the description as well, since I mentioned it. So there. Just want to get these, making sure I'm not in the way of any of the clips. Light got turned around. Okay, I think I'm all clipped in. And so now I will just do a little test fit here. This little gray part goes on there, and then that will all get shoved back inside there. So yeah, that looks all right. I'll put a little bit of hot glue back there and shove that in, and that should stay pretty well. So let me get my hot glue gun turned on. So while that's warming up, I'll solder these and make a connection, put a little lead on it, and put a plug on it so that I can plug it into the receiver. And when the receiver powers up, we'll just pull our power off of that. So those look pretty good inside there. And I don't think I'm really going to do any more LEDs. I think that'll probably be it. While that's going, let me make sure my wires fit in the right spot. You guys definitely have to have the interior in there. Yep. So interior fits well. You don't see the wires anywhere inside there, so that channel down there makes it work really nice for mounting that. And then big hole big enough that I once I have that connection on, I'll be able to take that off. So that worked well. Let's see if this hot glue gun's ready. I will. All right, so that's warmed up now. So we'll put some hot glue back there. And I'll definitely will have extras, so I will, before it's all said and done, scrape all the extra out. But we'll take that, push that back in there. And I'll quickly wipe away some of the extra, but that should be held in there pretty good. Now we'll do that to the other side. There we go. So now that hot glue will kind of keep those LEDs in place. It'll keep that the gray plastic lens in place, and that really is not that noticeable. So the next thing I'll do is I'm going to solder these together and put a longer pigtail, so if I take the cab off I have some room. So every time I have a servo go bad, I save the wire, save that pigtail. And so black is negative, red is positive, and this yellow is like that signal wire. I don't need that signal wire, so I'm going to separate it. That's not want to separate on me. For me, I'll start from this end. So I'll come down here. Here we go. And we'll separate that wire. And then these little metal clips are the clips to release the pin. So if you push the pin in, or push that in beside the coordinating with the yellow one. Actually, use my pick. It works a little easier. There we go. They'll pull out. And so now I have a power lead that'll fit right into my receiver. So now I'll cut those off about right in there. Don't need the hot glue gun anymore, so let me unplug that before I burn myself unintentionally. And I will need to make this hole big enough so that this fits through there, so that I don't have to unsolder this if I want to take this out. So let me go and do that now before I get started. Now that fits through there. So yes, I'm thinking that long would be good. So once I get that, trim these all off of that same length, and we'll separate this and tin these ends with our soldering iron. I'll say soldering gun. This is not a soldering gun, this is an iron. And for real small little wires like this, the wires from the LEDs are actually pretty stout, so I can use my wire strippers. Okay. Twist these together. Didn't twist very well. Bring my solder up here. Try this again. When you twist them together well, they stay together. We'll put a little solder on that. Go. Same with the reds. Don't want to lose my roll of solder on the floor. There we go. And now to do the same with these leads. Now the last step is putting a little bit of heat shrink on. So that will seal up the connection. So I'm gonna cut a couple pieces. I'm like on my last 3/4 inch of the small shrink tube, so I gotta run to the store tomorrow and get some more. I don't know if my hobby shop has shrink tube. I know my electrical shop does, but they're not open on Saturdays. So I've got to go to the hobby shop and get the right servos I need. Okay. Red to red, black to black. There we go. So let me grab a battery real quick. So I'm just using the battery right now because I don't have all the other stuff hooked up yet, so I'll just plug this in as my connection, and boom, there we got lights. All right, so that looks good. I will I need to get me a little small little heat gun. A propane torch is almost too much heat for this if you're not paying attention. I can use the heat off the iron to melt them down. There we go. So the lights are done, and I got a big enough lead. This can fit right through there. I need to grind that out just a little more. There we go. More in this corner. There we go. There we are. So there's the lights done. So I guess we'll probably wrap this video up here. It's probably getting a little long. We got it torn down, we got the lights in, and started to take it apart to put the servos in for the traction drive and the blade lift. I will get the servos and we'll come get that in part 2. This will probably just be a 2-part video. So thank you guys for watching, and you can check out some of my other Bruder RC conversions or some of the RC videos we got put together. But hey, thanks for watching. You guys have a good one.